cathartic for me. I find myself getting tied up in it and being busy, and then it's really nice just to sit, breathe in life, and it's beyond zen.
Handcrafted in
across the world. It's the Henderson Metals Fall Classic presented by Coyote Tractors of Ontario. We have this matchup here between Mike McEwen and Brad Gushue. Dave Schmel along with Jim Nix joining you on this morning. We're going to have some great curling all day, so grab yourself a coffee or a morning beverage of your choice and settle on in for what's going to be a great day of curling. And Jim, did you get any good sleep last night?
Yeah, I got a little, Dave. It was a little bit late, but compared to the night before, it was early, so it was not too bad at all. I woke up early this morning, get ready to face the day of curling, and it's excited to be here this morning.
So what do you expect out of these two squads? Obviously a good game because these are some of the top teams, but we've seen Team Gushue play a lot. Haven't gotten a lot of looks at McEwen, at least the two of us haven't.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think this will be a pretty aggressive game, really. I think you've got, obviously two of the best teams in the country. McEwen's coming in here with 3 wins already this season, and he's 25-4 since his week over in Europe, where I think golf took over from the curling for about a week. So he's had a great season so far. Brad's kind of the other way. He started okay, hasn't played a lot, but started okay. But the last couple spiels, he's been getting his games in for sure. He's come through the C division in back-to-back spiels, and that's always a challenge. But two of the best skips we've ever had, so I would expect this one to be a real barn burner.
And we thank you for joining us here on Curling Stadium. And you can catch all the scores for the other games in progress right now on curlingzone.com, as well as all the other major events throughout the world. But right now, this is the biggest one we got right now. A whopping $100,000 purse to the winner available in this.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a lot of money. We don't have many events that are anywhere near that level. So I think the guys, that's why we have such a good field. Obviously, it's not 28 teams, and there's not many teams missing from this field that you would expect to see it at a top end event.
So it is Team McEwen with hammer. In this opening end.
Yeah, I think we might have our colors flipped on the scoreboard, the on-screen scoreboard there. The colors may be backwards. Gushue in some trouble here, really. It's only McEwen has hammer. We didn't see the start, but we, counting them up and looking at our board here, it looks like McEwen's got hammer, and unless I've got the colors. No, sorry, I've got the colors backwards now. I'm looking at
McEwen does have hammer. I saw Adam Casey deliver the first stone before we rolled credits.
Okay, but he's yellow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I take that back then. Gushue's not in any trouble right now. McEwen's got to do a little scrambling to get out of this end here. You might see him later on decide to come right around this rock, but it's first stand and pretty early. It's you don't really want to fool around too much, so he's going to play some kind of a peel here, peel off of something, maybe get a couple greens and roll something into the house. So Flash is a good man to do it. He's one of the best at throwing this kind of shot.
Stone all the way from Colton Flash, the Marsh brothers on the brush. This is just going to go right over the top and through the hole. And McEwen had a comment for the Marshes.
Yeah, it's not a great setup for Mike right now. Definitely looking at more granite in the first end than you'd like to look at, or at least more of the opposition's granite that you'd like to look at.
So if you're Gushue here, how many are you looking to solidify?
Well, you're really only looking at one. You don't have hammer here. I don't think you dream real big here at this point. I think you try to say, well, how can we get one in that he is going to have a really hard time removing and perhaps pick up a steal in the first end. You know, I think at this level they don't dream about getting 3 or 4 here. We might do that on Tuesday night league. Think, well, we could steal 4 or 5, but these guys aren't thinking that. They're just trying to figure out how to get one, and if not get one, make sure they force the one.
Are you implying that we just missed the registration window for this spiel?
Yeah. Probably by about 40 years, I think, in my case. So this looks good. Oh, you almost put another one through a hole.
Oh, you did remove 2 Gushue rocks there, and importantly, open things up a little bit.
Yeah, Brad doesn't really want to leave that one there. That's one that Mike McEwen could do something with. So I think he's going to play some kind of a little hit and flop, just maybe flop right to the center line. Both these teams have 4 wins in this event so far. Mike came through the B side and ended up 4-1 leading into this game, and Gushue through C was 4-2, and had a couple of squeakers. We've done a few Gushue games now, and still an extra end, and then one in an extra end, and won another one by 1. He hasn't exactly blown the opposition away.
One thing that's been the case is Adam Casey has got to do a lot of sweeping.
He has. He will be looking at some spa treatments or something when this one's over. I think he's still pretty young, Adam, and he's in great shape, so it won't hurt him any. But man, you're right. He has pounded a lot of rocks. A lot of rocks. McEwen toying with the idea maybe of not hitting something here. I think he's going to have to hit something.
I think he's taking a look to see if that double takeout goes. It's a tough angle, but it should be there.
Yeah, it's probably there. I think, I could be wrong, but I think he'll just look at hitting this and rolling behind the greens and maybe to bite the 8-foot. Okay, he's looking at a hit and roll all the way over. Note that Flash doesn't hold the broom in the house for these guys. There's quite a few teams that do that, really, where the third stone isn't always the guy holding the broom.
Yeah, Flash is on the brush right now. I've seen that earlier in the season. They elect to have him brushing. And Flash is there walking this one down. Gonna hit the one. Come on over and roll. Do you get right to it and lock on? That is really nice by Mike McEwen right there.
Yeah, that's pretty much a pretty close to a perfect shot, I'd say. I don't know how you could make it much better than that. That's just the way Mike's playing. You remember, I mean, Mike wasn't quite as high up on the ladder in the forefront for a couple of years playing, but then you think back to a few years ago when he was really, he just did never miss. Like he literally never missed anything for about a year or two. It was just impressive to watch, and he's kind of back in that range these days. Obviously, with a record of 25-4 since his trip to Europe. He's not playing in club spiels. He's playing in all of these spiels, and that's a pretty darn good record.
Yeah, it has been a very good early start to the season for McEwen. We've had an opportunity to call a lot of those matches, and it's just been poetry out of him at times.
Yeah.
Found that some magic in that old corn broom.
Yeah. Might be some corn under there somewhere, I guess, now still.
Mostly tape.
Yeah.
So here's Gushue. That opens it all up there. And we went from looking at all these stones to there's a pretty good chance this ends up being a blank now.
Yeah, Brad would have liked to have hung around on that, even if it was just out there in the 12-foot to make Mike do something other than just throw it through. This is a little closer than what our view makes it look, obviously, because they're having a pretty good look at it.
Yeah, I think our camera is skewed slightly behind the tee line.
Yeah,
unless you want to be looking at it that much.
Yeah, I think they've settled on it being out, so he's not going to hit anything.
Now you see if the biter bar makes an appearance here just to make sure. But McEwen here on the throw through. And they are going to put a stick on him, so those
it's a little different.
Just
here,
watching, the biter bar is exactly 6 feet long, and if it comes in contact with any of those stones, it would have been in, and it appears it did not.
Interesting too that the measure there was actually by the opposition team, the team that you'd say wouldn't want it to be in, but in this case they would have liked it to have been in. So
now they're taking an opportunity to actually kind of check the rings real quick.
Yeah.
It's scoreless after one. We'll be back after this.
Here at Red Arena, we are trying to help.
Running the sanctuary absolutely brings me peace. The work is 100% cathartic for me. You know, I find myself getting tied up in it and being busy, and then it's really nice just to sit, breathe in life, and it's beyond zen.
Handcrafted in Canada.
And to make sure that we always show up in your feed, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell. You can find out when we're going live on curling absolutely anywhere. You can follow all your favorite teams. We have playlists for teams and events. Great way to stay apprised to whatever's going on in curling. So we saw that blank there in the first. Some good work by McEwen to dig out of that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, too, that Brad probably a little disappointed he didn't get some kind of a force on that end. At one point, he was sitting 3, and there were no yellow ones around. So you kind of would expect that you should be able to, at very least, get a force out of that. But McEwen, like you say, McEwen's team just did a good job, a couple of doubles, and worked their way to a blank in.
So now we see Adam Casey delivering his second, or as we'll refer to him at least once, fake Jeff Walker.
That's a couple nice rocks by Adam there.
So is there any trick to telling the Marsh brothers apart?
Probably, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, I've heard somebody say that before. Like you can tell there's a subtle difference there, but it's I don't see them enough to really know what that would be.
No, I usually just, when I run into that situation, I just say, "Hey, big guy," or "There he is." So now the real Jeff Walker is going to draw this one, looking to be right top four.
This looks pretty good. Bit slowed down.
Just squeezes past the guard. That's going to stick out the other side significantly.
Yeah, almost a full rock.
That's one thing that we've seen has been a lot of late finish in these stones, and they were textured on Friday, assuming they were conditioned before the Spiel 2, but they were touched up just a little bit. No word on if they've been touched up again. If we find that out, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
It's on the way. 1 and 2, and you run them both off. Nice shot.
Yeah, very good shot. Didn't change too much here. Just unfortunately, it's for McEwen. He kind of probably would have preferred to hit that a little off center and move some things around. It's a shot that you always look at and say, well, really hard to do that if you're practicing it or trying to throw it, but it seems to happen pretty easy when you're not looking for it.
Now Walker trying to get this buried a little bit better and not generate an angle to almost guarantee the double stuff.
Very good shot. It's didn't show anything. It's not real far into the rings, but it forces Mike to go out and try to make could be as much as a triple run back here.
Yeah, with these. Absolutely. With these being a little bit tighter, I would think that the triple is going to actually be just a touch easier.
Yeah.
So now here's Marsh trying to get the magic eraser. His brother's holding it. You get 1, 2, and that's what you'll get. You did leave a guard, but it's not on the center line this time. So the deck chairs are rearranged slightly differently. You see there Brad tapping for another guard.
So just looking up, just Google how you tell the Marsh brothers apart, and there doesn't seem to be a definitive answer. Mike McEwen says it's a little tough. He says he says you can just look for the hairstyles. One's got one and one doesn't. So that's kind of an interesting response, I thought.
Yeah, with these, absolutely. With these being a little bit tighter, I would think that the triple is going to actually be just a touch easier.
Yeah.
So Yeah, looking at the profile pictures that we had on Facebook, Kevin appears to have a little bit more flair and panache in
Yeah.
his hairstyle as opposed to Daniel.
So McEwen now will try the same kind of idea, probably try to make the double peel, yellow and green.
His stone's on the way from Flash. Coming up on him. That's going to just kiss it. Almost thought for a second it was going to go by everything, but they were able to hold it and clear the one out of the house.
It's interesting, though. McEwen's team, basically, with Hammer in the first end, they've pretty much just been chasing the whole first end and a half here. Certainly not developing anything at this point. It's a good spot.
Okay, so you see him coming up to his Yellowstone here now. Looking to remove the guard here, or does he want to blast it all the way in?
No, he wants to get both guards, the yellow and the green. He's not trying to make the shot they made the last time. That was good, but I mean, it wasn't what they were really trying to do. They're trying to open things up totally.
Well, we just did the same thing and kind of just reversed the polarity on it, so to speak.
Yeah. Because he has the one in the 12-foot, though, it's Brad has to be careful with this one. He wants to make sure he doesn't leave Mike an easy kind of run in or something like that for a deuce. I say easy. They're not easy, but sometimes these teams make them look like they're just pretty simple shots.
It must be really nice.
Yeah.
So Gushue settling in to throw his first here in end number 2. That one's going to be pretty short of the rings here.
Yeah, I think you'll see Mike trying to make the run back now. Ideally, he might make it and stick it right there and just be partially covered by the green guard. But if he made it go away, he wouldn't be too unhappy. I think Brad would sink one in there pretty good, but he has to do it. So, and it curls so much, if it ever just over curls even a little bit like it did earlier in the end, then it would be a gettable rock for McEwen for his deuce. So 2's not out of the picture yet for McEwen, even though they've been, like I say, just kind of chasing the whole end.
So Mike McEwen with his first. Gonna get the one, push it back. It's gonna clear it out. You are gonna spill the run back. And a contribution from our community. The Marsh brothers are wearing different color gloves.
Oh. Well, that was simple. Much more observant than we are, I guess. Just
see, we have black gloves there in the house, and white gloves were just sweeping.
Okay,
So
perfect.
it truly got white glove service coming down the ice there.
Yeah. 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 As we hear a little groan go up from the community. So big shot for Brad here. He has to make sure he puts this in the right spot. He doesn't want to give up a 2 here.
Yeah, doesn't want to give up a cheapie. He's had McEwen chasing the whole time here. And this one needs to bend over. Now Casey's going to try to tuck it under. It's taking the curl, but did they wait too long to try to get it there? They do get it there. Now, I'm assuming you take on the run back for a deuce here.
I might be surprised if he doesn't, for sure. Obviously the draw is probably a bit of an easier shot, but it's not a gimme either. So I think he's going to make a liar out of me.
It might be deep enough to dig it.
He might be, yeah. Yeah, he has to move it, 5 feet probably, 5 or so feet, 4 or 5 feet to score 2. Yeah,
that looks like backline or hack ice. So Mike McEwen's gonna try the easy weight takeout here in the second end to get his deuce.
Yeah, and Gushue squad there kind of had to stay on it to make sure that they buried it at least. So he would have preferred to be that much on the top of the 4 foot, and that would have made this shot that much harder. So, anyway, a big shot, but not an easy shot for Mike McEwen.
So Mike McEwen with the final stone of the second end, looking to dig out this rock from Brad Gushue to get his deuce. Now flash to hold, and got to sneak past the guard. Past it, you're fine. Now Marsh, walk it over, get it to go, and far enough does yours stay? And yes, you do, and it's 1 and 2 for Mike McEwen. Great shot. And he's going to take a 2-0 lead here in Sault Ste. Marie. We'll be back after this.
Here at Red Arena, we are trying to help people through equine therapy. Working with the veterans has been a very amazing experience. Our little motto that we always say is empowerment through horses. I love what I do. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Back here from Sault Ste. Marie, third end of the Henderson Meadow Fall Classic, brought to you by Coyote Tractors of Ontario. From the YNCU Curling Center in Sault Ste. Marie, and an absolute pistol out of Mike McEwen there to get his deuce.
Yeah, a big shot by Mike. It's not an easy shot to throw. You've got to be absolutely perfect for the weight, and he was. If you overthrow that just a little tiny bit, you don't get anything, and he sails on by, and Gushue steals one, and really McEwen kind of got 2 out of nowhere there because it really wasn't an end that they had any control of other than getting the one rock behind the corner. So good shot, and Gushue will have to try to come back with his own deuce here in this end.
Pretty standard setup here, a center guard and a corner. Although this effort to come to the top four looks like it might be just a hair heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, it dug in pretty good. I thought it was going a little bit deeper than that.
So did I, but you know, the curling world knows to make a liar out of me. So Casey with his second. Casey, the alternate on Team Gushue. They're awaiting their new arrival, Brendan Botcher, has a mixed doubles commitment this weekend.
A very nice shot by Adam. He's nice control of draw weight today. A little bit up and down in draw weight. We've seen him be. He's been very good, but he's just been a little up and down on draw weight the last couple games that we've done, and today he seems to kind of have it zeroed in pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say the roughest game he had for draw weight was the match against Dropkin.
Yeah.
But then really picked it up since then. So we can definitively say Kevin Marsh just delivered this, and Daniel Marsh is sweeping.
Yeah. That's a good shot as well. Haven't really seen quite as much of this sort of stacking techniques in the last couple games. I don't know why, but it's something they usually see steady in these games with the top teams, but I haven't really noticed it happening quite as much the last couple games.
Would that have anything to do with the level of curl we've been seeing?
Maybe, but I think it's I think it would be almost easier with this much curl than it would be if it was a little bit less than this.
Speaking of curl, that certainly did. It's also a little lighter than he would have liked.
Yeah.
So McEwen shot stone and third. He's going to look to come down to the corner of the Gushue Rock line second. That's a good possibility. What else do you see?
Well, you could, yeah, okay. He's going to play the outturn draw. I was going to say he kind of motioned that he might consider playing a run back on the green one, but pretty early. I think he's got one in there that's pretty solid in there, or a couple that are in there pretty solidly. So he's going to keep going here and see where it takes him. So I find these ends always interesting. They look like there's no way that anybody's ever going to get a two, because it seems like somebody only going to get one. But more often than not, it sorts itself out a little bit as we get a little further along. Pretty good shot. Gushue could probably get rid of all the yellows if he wanted. Don't know if he can skinny that top one enough to make that, but
after the shot we saw him throw last night, let's not put anything past these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
In case you missed it, it was a incredibly skinny shot to eject stones that were welded to get Gushue a deuce in that last game. You can find that highlight. It's been posted a few times by folks, including Team Gushue.
Yeah, it's the poor Morizumi team had to leave that last night wondering really what happened, because they just played a terrific game and really had a good opportunity to end up winning that one. But Gushue's team was up to the challenge, and particularly Brad. Brad has just been really, really good on all of the big shots in the last few games that we've done. I think it was the second or third game in a row we've done at Gushue's, and it's he's just been making those final shots consistently, no matter how hard they are. So
Just gets it by. Might even rubbed a hair there, but big brush from the Marsh brothers there.
Yeah, I think Gushue has to move something here. He's not going to have any opportunity to score two. He might have a hard time scoring one, but he's got to move something. So it looks like he's going to run this green one back, maybe straight back. If it touches the one that's on the green, that's probably even okay as long as it just touches it. Lots of weight.
So here comes Nichols. Casey's going to try to hold it in there. Run it back, and just the one goes away, but it does rearrange the scenery definitely into Gushue's favor.
Yeah, I think a good shot, really. It's I don't know if he could have got too much more out of it than that. It's interesting. I was just looking over the standings in the mixed double event where Brendan Botcher's playing this weekend, and there's 4 pools, and one pool top team right now is from Korea. The next pool, their top team is from Japan. Then Homan and Botcher's top of their pool, and then the other division is a team out of Australia. So it's it's just interesting how it's become such a world game, particularly in mixed doubles.
Is it the Gill pair from Australia?
Yeah.
Oh, they've been playing really well this season.
Yeah, they're ranked 1 or 2 or something in the world, maybe number 2. I think their team ranked number 1 is from the Netherlands, or we did a mixed doubles event for them on here back, a month ago or so ago.
Now that one did not end up where Mike won it, I think.
No, I don't think so either.
We're getting more contributions on here. They say one of them always wears 1 glove, one of them always wears 2 gloves. So interesting. But very interesting as this ends. So they're going to talk about it, and rightly so. What do you think is the best option here, Jim?
Yeah, it's a really interesting shot. I think, you have a couple of opportunities. You could run the green back if you wanted to. I think it would be sort of a gentle back, not necessarily a big weight back, and to remove the yellow, because really McEwen doesn't have a lot of opportunity to promote that yellow stone. It's kind of in a pretty tough spot. And would come up against the green, but not with enough weight to get it out. So that's one option for sure. I don't think he'll open up the front. He could, but I think he's far enough into this now that he probably sees being 1 shot away from a good situation. So I think you'll see him play something on this green one, on his green one. These are always difficult because sometimes you're better off blowing it up a little bit and let it sort itself out. So they're definitely going to play the green stone back. It's just a matter of what weight choice they picked. A lot of ice, so I don't know what that weight is for these guys. That's I'll have to figure that out after he throws this.
It's at least normal, I would think.
Yeah, it's pretty firm. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think he'd go with that weight on here.
Coming on down, lining up pretty nicely. Going to fire it in, and you move them. You get that McEwen stone off the button, and you lie 2nd and 3rd after that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a great result. I'm not quite sure what they thought they would get out of that, but I don't think that was a great result. I think Mike now can make the double and be sitting 1 buried or 2 with 1 buried. And that's why I didn't think he'd throw that weight. I was kind of thinking he'd throw something a little bit lighter than that and have things stay around a little bit better.
So Mike McEwen has been using that same corn broom his entire career, more than 40 years at curling. With his first here in the third. Get the one over the two, split them both off, and away they go. Mike McEwen cleans up.
Yeah, very good shot. It was, Brad sort of set it there for him, but he's still got an opportunity here. He's going to be throwing the out turn, come around, and we normally have thought that the in turn was Gushue's favorite shot, but it seems like all of these big draws he's made in the last couple of games have all been out turns, and no different here. So I expect this to be top button behind that guard, and if it's there, he certainly has a chance for his two.
Yeah, he's had about 3 out turn draws that he's drawn to like a 3 millimeter square area, so probably in total.
Yeah.
Gushue with his first here in the third.
Line looks pretty good.
Yeah, pass the guard now. Work it, carve it deep, get it there, get it to a good spot. Wanted to get to be shot stone.
Great shot.
And really, really close. And I do believe you got there, and you sit one right now.
Yeah, that's a really good shot. Really perfect location. Above the tee line. You can't really do anything too much with it.
Now, Jim, you can probably certainly get to that rock on the intern side. Do you think you could ever get there with enough force to move it?
Yeah, I think since I was wrong the last time, thinking he couldn't get there with that much, I think that he could get there. I don't know if he's going to try that. I think that he's looking at, being while he's tapping there with the little magic broom, and anywhere along there probably figures Gushue's going to have a really difficult time scoring too, as long as he's somewhere in that area, protecting basically the 4-foot. It's probably a good call, I think, Dave. If he goes around on the in-turn and doesn't get it, then Gushue has just the same draw for 2. And as we just spoke, Brad doesn't need a whole lot of room to make it. So this is probably a good option. I think it probably leaves Brad the in-turn. I just don't know if you can get it in the right location. You have to clear that green guard on the outside, the corner guard, and once you clear that, I think you're going to come to the other green stone. It's not going to help you there.
So Mike McEwen looking to set up the force here in 3. His final is on the way.
Don't want this one to curl too much, because it wouldn't have to go too much for Brad to be able to come right around it and get that little sliver of the button.
Top 8, does that get the job done for you?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it takes away the out-turn draw anyways. Now it's a question whether how can he manage to get in there. He might be able to go in here with, I don't know, let's say back 12 weight and just bump it enough and have his shooter still stay around. That would be the only way I can see that he can get the 2. I mean, you could angle your green one in, but you're probably not doing that this early in the game.
If something ever goes wrong with that, you go from scoring to giving up a steal or 2.
Yeah. And I don't think sometimes you'll see teams that'll draw here and figure they can draw and just rub off their own, and with the rotation of the stone, manage to get it to spin in at the end. I don't know that there's enough room to do that here. I think you have to get so much closer than the yellow one. I don't think you'd get enough action off the shooter to make that happen.
It looks like they're
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, looking at like just through weight here, I think.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Can't tell by Mark sometimes. Sometimes he stands there and I'm thinking, does he know for sure what they're doing? And I'm sure he does every single time, but it just sometimes he looks a little bit like, I don't know about this. This shot's there for sure. I think it's definitely makeable. He's got a little room to roll. I mean, he's got, if he comes to the yellow one, even with back 12 or something, he's probably got a foot or 2 feet, maybe 2.5 feet even to roll with the shooter and still score the two. But
here's Gushue with the final stone of 3. Trying to get on down, move that yellow a little bit, and hang around for 2.
it's going to be really close.
Gonna get past your own, make the tap, hang around, and there you go. There's a dandy for Gushue. So the skippers have traded good deuces there.
Yeah,
Take a look at it again.
See this on the replays. It's just a tremendous shot and really made it look so easy. I mean, he stayed easy. It was like, he made it look a whole lot easier than we would think it would be. And perfect weight, swept it well. Great shot for Gushue for a deuce.
We're tied up at 2. We'll be back after this from Sault Ste. Marie. You're watching Curling Stadium.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Back here in Sault Ste. Marie. Tied up affair now in the 4th end of the Henderson Medal Fall Classic. Great sponsors of this event. And it's also presented by Coyote Tractors of Ontario. We've seen the skippers trade a pair of beautiful deuces.
Yeah, absolutely. They just, they made something out of nothing. Both cases, Mike the end before and Brad this end. So kudos to those guys. I wouldn't have expected much less with these two teams in this game, but still, well done. Congrats to all the hardy souls that are out here at 9 o'clock in the morning in the ice shed, sitting on the bleachers, and there's a number of them there.
There's been good support for it pretty much all weekend long, usually until you say that there's a lot of hardy souls there.
Yeah.
Now, it's great to see the support of the local community and the support that this spiel's been seeing online. We've had excellent viewership all weekend, and we thank you all for joining us. And it's been time well spent by you guys, because it's been a lot of great curling here to watch. So now Jeff Walker. Working down to come down the McEwen stone undercover.
Yeah, it's not
Don't
something
think
you
you got
always
shot.
want to do. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
don't think you got shot out of that, did you?
It doesn't look like it, no. It's not something you always like to do, go around corners without hammer, but when the ice is curling this much and the level of skill that these players have, they would do things that, textbook says don't chase around the corner. It's never a good thing, but it's not. It's a little different ball game for these guys.
Marsh looking to do some housekeeping here.
Tell you, the McEwen team has not had much luck with the Peel game here in the last couple ends. They've hit everything, but they just really rarely have managed to get more than just removal of one rock kind of thing, and have left a shooter or left one stone there. So it's kind of different. They don't usually see that. Usually these guys make everything go away pretty quick.
Now I see here Brad discussing that you might just want to play the stone that they just threw back a little bit onto the one on the tee line and lock it in there that way.
Yeah, I think that's a good call here. It's you don't want to leave that one there, and just go down here, tap this back, tap it back, tap it out. Even is fine. Looks like
He
that's
indicated
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he indicated for about back line weight here. So Walker on the delivery. Nichols working to hold the line. Squeeze past it. Yes, you do. Just got by a sliver. What a great brush.
Yeah, that was a great brush. My eyes had already gone off of that one. My eyes had kind of gone over to the other green one just half a second before it was supposed to hit. But anyway, it got by. Great job. Mark's a personal trainer by profession. He's probably done a lot of training on his own, obviously.
So it's Gushue lining 1, 2, and 3, and now McEwen is having to do some serious chasing here with hammer.
Yeah, you can get rid of a couple here, maybe get rid of a couple and get a little roll.
Asking for firm weight out of Marsh here. This one needs to come up a hair to get more than one. There you go. You got two out of the way this time.
Got rid of two and one on the other sheet even.
Yeah, a little bit of shrapnel went over there. And
yeah.
They exchanged their apologies.
Everything's behind the house, so that's a good thing. So good shot there by Marsh.
So Gushue's first thought was to kill the McEwen rock there, which is lingering.
Yeah, I think that's the plan here. It's and indicated hit and flop behind the guard, but if it did end up going past that, just sweep it over to the 8-foot somewhere.
So Mark Nichols. And get it pretty much right in the beak. Now, that might be really close to the rings.
Yeah, McEwen
Here should be off.
Yeah. He may opt to get rid of that one. Well, same shot, basically, that Brad called.
He's trying to see how much room he has past that guard to get the right roll. So it looks like he's going to opt to go for the one that's deeper in the rings than the 8-foot here.
Okay.
Colton Flash. Needs to move another inch. Past it, threaded that needle. You're going to get the great big roll. But that was precision work there by Mr. Flash.
Yeah, good shot. Just he needed to stay on it just so that he didn't open up the come around for Gushue team. But he did that. So now Brad has to hit a rock that's back 8 foot and really no danger to the McEwen squad.
Now Casey's looking to work it over. This does need to come up.
It does, yeah.
And they just get there, and they're going to roll out. So little opportunity for Mike here to duck under something.
Yeah, that's not a good one for Mark. He wanted to hang around there for sure. McEwen might have opted to come around even if he did stay there, to be honest, but would have been a good time to do that because, fourth end and your tie game and jump around there's a good chance to get your deuce.
Looks like they're going to take care of this Gushue stone and roll onto the rings.
Yeah, it's just a bit of an opposition to stand here, so I'm trying to. I thought at first they were going through that hole. I guess maybe they are trying to go through that hole.
And that's what they did. Oh, they fooled us, buddy. Well,
yeah.
Fooled me.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even sure. I didn't quite catch the start, but it was just an odd spot to be standing if you were playing any kind of a hit there. So Gushue will get to try another draw.
So, Brad Gushue out of St. John's with his first here in the fourth. Just working it down. Line looks pretty dandy, just managing the weight right now.
Good shot.
Pretty good. Now you take on the run back here, Jim.
Yeah, I think you do, yeah. It's either the run back or the double on the greens, and I think that one's probably equally as hard as the other, and you might as well play yours back and sit too.
So Kevin Marsh puts the broom down for his skipper. They moved it just a skosh back towards the center line. And here's Mike McEwen with his first of the fourth. Needs to come up just a hair if you're going to hang around. Oh, and you do probably the absolute worst thing.
Yeah, that was another one of those millimeter kind of shots. It hardly had to come up anymore. Just a smidge, a real small piece, and it would have got rid of that green stone. Instead, he moved it over to actually make room for Gushue to get another one in there. You put this around top button, you're going to be in a pretty good position.
So here's Gushue with his last in the fourth. I want to get this a little further than that, I think.
Yeah, I would have thought that as well. I don't know for sure if there was much benefit to getting any deeper than that, but it felt like you normally would want to go a little deeper. However, if you get down there a little bit further, even with the other one, and Mike does decide to play the run back on the yellows, he could possibly get a couple. This is probably a harder two now. He's just going to try to... I think he's just going to try to make sure one of them goes away. He could make the double here. He'd roll out if he makes the double. And he'd score one, but right now that would probably look pretty good to him.
Yeah, right now he's facing a steal because that's not the easiest draw to make if you're going to draw.
No, I don't think there's any draw there really at all. I think it's that's the one thing about if Gushue had been able to get that a little bit deeper, he would have had less of this rock to see. So this shot would probably be there. You'd probably force him into doing something different. But you can't cover everything usually, so we'll see how Mike gets along here. Yeah, tough double. Like it's a real tough double.
So Mike McEwen with his final stone in the fourth. He needs to make this slash to get a single. Flash off it. Come up a little bit. Needs to curl a skosh. You got the one. Now do you carry it out the back? Yes, indeed you do. And a key shot there from McEwen. And he gets his single here in fourth. We'll be back from Sault Ste. Marie here on Curling Stadium right after this.
I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to landscaping. I've studied soil down to the microbes. It's that level of detail I bring to my work and to my business. Straight lines and a healthy ecosystem is what I'm all about.
Yeah, that's
Back here in the fifth end, or halfway through this game between Brad Gushue and Mike McEwen. It's the Henderson Metal Fall Classic, brought to you by Coyote Tractors of Ontario. And big shot. I know it's only a single point, but that was a big one for McEwen.
Yeah, I think so too. It was he absolutely made the best he could make out of that shot, and it would have been very easy to give up a steal of one there, and maybe not that hard to give up a steal of two if he ever takes the guard. So terrific shot by Mike, and they called it right, and that's all he could do. He wouldn't have been horribly unhappy if he had jammed it and given up one just because he'd been in so much trouble there, but yeah, no, he got his point. Took a 1 point lead after 4 ends and has hammer in the even ends and all that kind of stuff. So good shape right now for McEwen.
And now Gushue's going to try to posture this so maybe he can take away that even end advantage from Mike McEwen.
Yeah.
And just as you say, you haven't seen this play the middle stack game too much. We've done it a couple ends in a row now.
Yeah. Yeah. Working pretty hard on this. Oh, he's going to be okay.
It got it around, no problem.
Yeah.
And you're going to come right on up. Pretty close, but you are dead lined up. Mike emphatically asked for this stone, and it is on the way. From Kevin Marsh.
This one,
Yes.
this one's going to get over there.
Yeah, it needs to get over. And now it takes the curl. Now can they bring it over, finish it, get it there? Well, it came a lot further than I thought it was going to.
Me too. Yeah, I know, it's amazing. It doesn't seem to really matter how far out they are. They will eventually get there. In the old days, we can make that happen, but we'd have to dish it to make it happen. So we'd have to really have the center be a lot lower than the outsides, and as a result, nothing would curl to the outsides. The corner guard game was kind of useless, but now they have them going everywhere. Well, a lot of reasons for that, but it's pretty amazing to see that much curl coming to the center and still see 4 or 5 feet going to the outside.
A big shout out to all the ice technicians that allow us to play this game, and especially the ones at this level. Nice shot there. Cleaned some stuff up.
Yeah.
And the Gushue leaves his in a good place to be able to use it later.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has an advantage at this point with the way everything's set up. It's just you have to wait and see who blinks first, I guess. And I don't think
another one hanging out there. Ooh, that's light. I don't think either skip is really happy with the way that setup is.
No, it's unfortunate for Brad. He probably has to move something around a little bit here. It's just going to be difficult to get in there.
So Jeff Walker making the most of his time here at second. Nichols is going to have to hold this. You get yours moving. Now, can you get it to come under cover too? No, not quite, but still a pretty good setup. You leave yourself a few corners.
Yeah, I think that's good. That was better than just blasting him all out of there. I think he's got a couple corners to work with, like you say, and
That one's going to come on up right there in the 3-guard position, and Brad Gushue is going to adjust that.
yeah, I'm curious which side he's going to try to go that way. It would make some sense. Yeah, he's just trying to get a little bit to the low side, the left side, as we look at it. Just it would end up kicking the green one over, perhaps a little bit behind the corner, or at least leaving it behind your shooter here. So you won't want to be very much off center with this, but maybe just a little bit.
Moved a lot of stuff, and he got it under cover. Bam, bam, indeed. So that one underneath cover is something that's going to have to be worried about by Mike McEwen as this end goes further on. Shot on the way from Flash. Looking to tuck it under. Gets a little piece of it underneath there, and they lie 1-2.
Now, what Brad will do here, he might try to pick that top one out and stay in front of the other Schmel. Might be going after a little bit. Yeah.
So that's in there. I don't know if that's 100% the best result. Now you see McEwen here. What do you think's the best option, Jim?
Well, I think he's going to have to remove that green one, I think, and try to roll over behind the guards. If he can get into kind of the same place he was in a minute ago, he should be okay. He just doesn't want to leave a double here that Gushue can sit 2 when he's done. But to do that, I think he pretty much has to roll underneath.
So Mike McEwen coming on here to throw his first in the fifth.
I think this one's got to curl a little bit. It'll sit right there, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna sit right there for sure. So Gushue should be able to make both of those go away and keep the shooter in the rings, I would think.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's not far off a nose hit, so if he makes this double, he'll roll a little bit towards Mark's broom, and then you'll probably see McEwen try to hit and make the big roll behind all the green ones. It's probably worth a try because it's you're going to give up a deuce more than likely if you do anything but that. So I think I would try to go for that. You can roll anywhere on that left side of the sheet, and you're going to be somewhere where it's not easily removed.
So here's Brad Gushue with his first stone of N5. Looking to make this double and hold his shooter on the rings. Get them 1-2, and you did that perfectly, just like the skipper drew it up.
Yeah, that's a good shot. They could have actually went even a little bit harder on it, held it out a little bit further, and then would have got another few inches of roll. But that's being a little bit fussy.
And they're not going to make a liar out of you. The broom went right down for the shot that you indicated.
Yeah.
I guess they knew it was because you called it and not me.
Yeah.
So Mike McEwen needs to make a good one here to limit Gushue to a single.
Yeah, like I said, he has so much room to roll to, so it's a very, very makeable shot.
Very makeable. You have to make it. We're holding on. Hold on. Hit, and you roll. Gotta stay there. That's gonna do the job, I would think.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything there worth taking a run at for Gushue.
Broom goes down, and the force is on. Here in 5.
Very good shot there by McEwen. It's not a crazy hard shot, especially with that much room to work, but you still got to make them, and Mike's been making them pretty good. So very good shot, very nice. Oh, it needs just a little bit better than full 8-foot. A little bite of the 4-foot would be good, but I suspect they'll try to put it on the button. That's what they usually do.
So Gushue, with his final stone of N number 5 on the way, just needs to get to the 4-foot for his single here. Boys are bringing it down. They feel pretty good about the weight here. The time looks good. The shot looks good. The hands go up, and it's a single point for Brad Gushue. And we are all tied up after 5. We'll be back from Sault Ste. Marie here on Curling Stadium right after this.
Running the sanctuary absolutely brings me peace. The work is 100% cathartic for me. I find myself getting tied up in it and being busy, and then it's really nice just to sit, breathe in life, and it's beyond zen.
Handcrafted in Canada.
60% McEwen, 40% Gushue right now, just because it's a sixth end, even end, and McEwen has hammer.
You see a good number of folks there in the lounge, and there's even more on the ice watching, enjoying some Sunday morning curling from the Sioux and the YNCA Curling Center. YNCU, rather. It's not the...
Yeah. Yeah, I thought for a while there may be music playing on the ship there, so. Gushue would love to find a way to steal one here. That would be certainly his plan, change things around a little bit going to the last couple ends. McEwen's back and ready to call this one. Play a little hit and roll. Second stone marsh. Might be a little loud in the rink. You see Mike wiggling the broom a little bit. Sometimes when the arenas get a little bit loud, you have to, especially when the games get more intense, you have to use a little bit of gestures, a few gestures to be able to make your sweepers aware of what's going on. Very good shot. Gushue will look to play the freeze right on top. Jeff Walker playing second this weekend. And Adam Casey going on the broom. Didn't quite get the curl they would have liked to have gotten there. Probably a hair heavy, or maybe even a little touch outside. I'm not sure. We couldn't see that part, so not really an ideal spot. McEwen makes this now and flops in, and Gushue's going to have to do something, like possibly even play a run back that he would hate to play.
So you see that one working its way in there now.
Very nice.
Nice pick, and they do lie 3 at the moment.
Yeah, and it's like I say, it's kind of unfortunate now because Brad would love to have that guard to work with, and he's going to have to try to run it straight back. It might remain, but it may also go.
Stone's on the way. Got to open things up a little bit here. Run 1, move 2. Does that one get out the side all the way? Not quite. Still McEwen line 2.
Yeah, probably a worse situation for Gushue, to be honest. Mike's got his 2 rocks in the house spread all apart. Brad has a guard to work with, but as we've seen so many times, a single guard on this ice is not necessarily an easy thing to work with because it's so gettable. Everything behind it seems to be able to be removed with back line to hack weight.
Bring that one in. They are sitting 3.
Gushue not playing a lot of defense this end. It's kind of going pretty hard now. He's going to be forced into being pretty aggressive. Only 4 rocks to come. Used to ask him Mark to play a freeze right on top of the high one.
Yeah, this is a tough shot, especially with how lively these stones have been. Gushue himself has shown that there's a freeze has to be utterly perfect or else it's not a freeze.
Yeah. That's not bad. McEwen's going to peel the guard, looks like.
So here's Flash on the peel. And a peel it does. Let's see a little more of the same for a minute, or they're trying to make it a little bit better.
I think he's going to I think he's going to try to be a little bit conservative here and probably play a little like tap back roll. So it looks like it's going to be played like in whatever that symbol is again, something like board weight or control weight. Try to kind of hit it on the nose more or less and keep both green ones in the house, maybe sit 1-2. He scrambled a little bit here because he just doesn't have a lot to work with and in terms of setting up a potential steal. And so he's having to look a little bit differently.
Looks like he indicated for like a control weight so for most of us, that's around a 10.5.
Yeah, he moved it in a little bit, took a little less ice, so Mark's going to probably throw maybe a little bit firmer than what he originally was thinking.
Comes on down, trying to hold the line. Don't want to lose both of them. 1-2, and you get a double and roll to be shot stone. How about that?
Yeah, that's a good one. It would have been nice if you see it again here. So he hits this nice and thin on the back yellow. He couldn't curl too much or it would go over the top, and would have liked to have held the other green one somewhere back there and maybe sat 1-2, but still pretty good.
Now Flash is going to try to take this out and put some separation between these stones. Got to be careful not to jam it. Marsh working to hold it. Pick it out. Clear it over the top just enough, and he do lie too.
Yeah, that was a good shot too. He obviously would have liked to have been able to roll a little further away, so Brad didn't have a quite as makeable of a double. Rocks are 6 feet or so apart, I think, by the look of that. So, certainly not an easy one.
Well, he's made quite a few of these look extremely easy.
Yeah, and he desperately needs to make this. He doesn't want to drop a deuce here. He'd rather McEwen blank this end than to give up a 2 here.
Brad Gushue with his first here in the 6th. Casey working to hold it. On the 1, you jam it and can't clear it out.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because McEwen's got a lot of room to work with here, and he makes a little hit and stay anywhere, barring a jam, and he probably won't do that. Then it's going to be a really tough double for Brad, and probably one that he has to take on just because there's going to be nowhere to go that's going to be able to be a better defensive maneuver.
So, Mike McEwen gonna pick this and get a roll and try to leave himself maximum separation. Make the double as difficult as he possibly can for Gushue.
Gonna be really close to jamming this, though.
And
whoa.
Oh,
yeah. I don't think he
just squeaks by a whisker.
I think the only thing that saved him is the fact that because he played the out turn, the rock picked up the in turn on the way back, and it just gave it just that whatever half-inch or curl or something. So.
So this is probably actually the easiest double Brad could have hoped for.
Yeah, I agree.
So here's Brad Gushue with his final and 6. Wants to make this double to avoid giving up the deuce. On the one, clip the second one on the way by, and yes, sir, you got it.
Yeah, well thrown. Nice solid weight. Mark called it perfectly. You never know for sure which side these guys are actually trying to hit it, but they even when they don't hit it on the same side as we might think, they know that right out of the hand and make so few sweeping errors. Great shot by Gushue.
So now after McEwen thought he had a deuce almost firmly in his pocket and probably almost written on the board in his head on the blank attempt here. Hit and you spill. The blank is accomplished. We stay tied up. We'll be back for end number 7 after this.
Here at Red Arena, we are trying to help people through equine therapy. Working with the veterans has been a very amazing experience. Our little motto that we always say is empowerment through horses. I love what I do. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
I've got him now if you want.
We're back here in end number 7. It's all tied up here. Mike McEwen has the hammer. Let's take a look around the rings at our other games right now. Jim?
Yeah, we've got a lot of games that are in the same position we're in. We have 3 games that are tied and one that's not. So we have on Matt Dunstone leading John Epping 4-2 playing 7. Dunstone having hammer. Mark Keane and Joel Returnaz are tied at 2 after 5 playing number 6 with Returnaz having hammer. And Marco Hosley and Reed Carruthers also tied at 2 playing 7 in that game with Hosley having hammer.
So a lot of good games going on right now, and we have almost 3,000 of you joining us this morning here on Curling Stadium, and we thank you so much for joining us. You're watching the Henderson Metal Fall Classic presented by Coyote Tractors of Ontario. I'm Dave Schmel, he's Jim Nix, and it's been one hell of a game back and forth between these two skips.
Yeah, it really has, Dave. It's the skips in particular. I think both teams have played quite well, but the skips in particular have just made everything. And when they're in a little trouble, they make the big shot to get out. A couple of times that guys have turned what should have been no points into two. So hasn't been a lot of scoring, but the times they did, both Brad and Mike both made good shots to set up deuces. So yeah, it's been a good game. And obviously, looking across the rings here, you got 8 teams that all deserve to be here, judging by the scoreboards.
And it is a collection of some of the best teams here. There's no junior varsity squads, 28 of the best teams from around the world, and they were attracted by the monster $106,000 purse up for grabs this weekend. So, Gushue, without Hammer here, you have Mike on the forefoot, and looks like they want to take some time to talk about this. Timeout's been called.
Yeah, I think it's a tough end. It's that end that you would love to force to one, but again, we said this before. 1 point either way is probably acceptable for Gushue, but I think if he had his druthers, he'd rather force one and be down one with. I don't know what the analytics say about that in long term, but I think that's what he would prefer to do. But he also doesn't want, worst case scenario for him, he just doesn't want to let Mike McEwen blank this in. So that's the challenge more than anything else.
So with that in mind, how does Brad accomplish that?
Yeah, well, he's off to a good start here. There's enough rocks in play right now that's a good start to being able to force him. And right now, McEwen has a shot right now, but that's that can change as we go along. I think here in this exact situation, you may see him. Yeah, he's talking corner freeze there, but you might also have him play that in-turn draw right around. He could play that. He could play his own here, but I don't know that that's what you want to do, because I think then Mike starts to run some guards back, and it's just not enough rocks in play maybe to allow you to force him to one. So that's the shot that I'm thinking they're looking at with Adam Casey back there at the back of the 4. I don't think you want to be back that far. I think you'd rather be shot here if you're going to play it. So a lot of chatter here. The guys didn't bother taking a timeout here, I don't believe. I think that they just felt they had enough time to chat about this, enough time saved to chat about this without using the timeout. Those timeouts are pretty valuable. So it looks like where Brad is meandering about back there, they're going to go with some kind of an intern come around here. Not quite sure how deep they want to go, but they are going to try to get by that top one and sink one in there.
Yeah, I did see the timeout timer go up on the time clock. So
oh, did you? Okay.
They definitely called one there. So here's Walker looking on the come around. And get up there just to the top 12.
Yeah, and they may have been playing that, Dave. I'm not quite sure. It was one of the shots that they did tap in their series of going through the shot options. So it may be that was a called shot. So Mike with hammer is just going to, McEwen would like to open this up and see what happens. He's not too concerned about who's shot or anything like that right now. He just like to remove a couple of rocks, particularly the guards.
And we do rattle the cage there some. pushes his own back to the back four, but definitely rearrange the furniture.
Yeah.
But is he happy with that feng shui?
Well, I don't think he got quite what he would like to have got out of it. No, his yellow one went to the back of the button there, so gives Gushue something to work with in a bit. Right now, he's going to throw, I think, unless he's changed it, he was going to throw a guard. It still looks like guard coming by the slide. So guard on, actually mainly guarding the high one, the one at the top of the 12-foot, so that there's no double option. If McEwen ever were to pick out the one at the top of the 4, it would still have Gushue would still have a couple of guards to work with to come around. That's what he really needs more than anything else. I don't know if it's going to quite get over there, though. Yeah, I don't think he'd be real happy with that.
It's over, but it's extremely, extremely long, too.
Yeah, and so long that even if Mike makes this double, that guard's really not of much use to you. Brad might end up having to throw another one just to be able to have something work for him. Or something to work with, I guess, better way to put it.
So they can see this double here for Marsh. That's on the way. I haven't laid a broom to it yet because you got one and you jammed it right on there.
Yeah, pretty good break for Gushue. Now that rock is behind the guard.
And you see him indicate maybe just coming right onto the 4-foot or playing that double. That's a tough angle for the double, but it's certainly there.
Yeah, I think the draw makes the most sense. I think that the only reason for playing the double is to try to make sure you get rid of a rock that McEwen might use to win the game with later. Because it does seem like the straight draw would be the more logical option here. And that's what he's going to go with, so.
So, Mark Nichols. With his first year in 7. Now Casey waiting for his chance to bring it over.
Can't afford
now
to be
trying to knife it, thinks a little bit heavy, and oh boy, you are. Raise the broom and say nice shot, but I'm not so sure.
No, that shot doesn't do much for them at all, to be honest, and gives McEwen an opportunity to play the peel if he wants. He could sink one in here, set up a possible deuce. Just not a good result at all.
And Nichols had that look on his face. He knew it wasn't super.
Yeah.
So, options here for Mike as they're going to come down and talk about it.
Yeah, and I think they certainly can. Excuse me, they can consider the peel because that rock potentially could damage, but it's just so long that I don't think he's really too afraid of it. Can play the little freeze that he just indicated there. I think that's quite a good option. Flash is talking about, I don't know what he's doing. Flash seems to be talking about trying to go in a different direction totally, but I don't really see what you do there. I like the draw for McEwen. Right there is perfect to me.
I guess he's worried that Gushue can use that one on the wings to come on over and maybe actually kill them all.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's like I say, a rock that these guys is very much in play at this level. And
Yeah, because if you were to put one in the 4-foot there in the wrong spot, you'll be able to come off that yellow in the 12
yeah,
and maybe lose every yellow with one fell swoop.
yeah. At the very least, set one in there somewhere where you might not be able to remove it. Still don't quite know what there's just so much cleaning up going on here. I think he's playing the intern, kind of the intern tap on that high green one.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the teams doing housekeeping at various points, but oddly enough, we really haven't seen rocks pick. I can only think of one this weekend.
Yeah, I think McEwen had one at a kind of a key point in this game with Dunstone, which is probably still on their minds, but that's the only one I know of. So he'd like to get about half of this and remove it and roll over to the corner.
And he got about 5/8 of it and didn't roll anywhere.
No. Well, there's Brad. I wonder where he went.
So I would think that Brad's just going to want to throw a draw here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's I think he's gonna. It's the same shot that I keep thinking they're gonna play every time, and I think he's gonna throw the out turn, come around. Yeah. Mark can make this really good, then it's going to be difficult for McEwen to score, I think. But they're still, they still have 3 rocks to come each, so it might be a little bit early to figure that.
So here's Mark Nichols trying to lock one in there, throw a better one than his first.
This one looks pretty good. He can come off his own a little bit if he needed to.
And they'll do just that. And that is a much better outcome by Mark Nichols. Good comebacker shot there.
Yeah, for sure. That was he needed that one. The team needed that one just from the game point of view. So it's that was a good shot. McEwen might run the yellow in. And probably leaves one green one in the 4-foot area, but I've seen rocks go over this weekend that I have yet to figure out how they went where they did. So
Flash bringing some weight down here. Got to get past the guard first. Now curl all the way as far as you can. Push one back. And you only move a little bit. You leave your own welded on, though. Very close for shot stone.
Yeah, you see Flash still. This got probably a little closer to the guard than they wanted to be, but pretty good result. I think for sure it's and not only that, he's left his other walk and the one he just threw, he left the shooter in a good spot. And I don't know who shot. I think the green still might be shot by a smidge there, but it's a little delicate for Gushue now.
Yeah, that is very close for shot rock.
Yeah.
And like you said, Brad has to start to be a little bit careful because McEwen still has 2 left to throw himself, and he's got 3 in the ring. So just might be able to find a way to make more than one of them count.
Yeah, I think his ideal result here would be to be just probably half the 8-foot, maybe something like that. Or maybe I guess he doesn't even need totally the 8-foot, but somewhere close to the 8-foot and provide some cover for the rock in the house, while maybe taking a little bit of that angle raise away too. So there's a lot of things that he has to take away with one rock. I don't think he can do them all, but Mike's been so sharp, you better leave him a tough one.
So Gushue with his first. Coming on over, and there you go. You got that eat.
Yeah, I think that's a really good shot. You got in there enough that it's pretty tough for McEwen to do much with it.
So looking at the possibilities, what are the good options here?
Well, the yellow would be a great shot. Like if you could make that, I think that would be a great shot, except for the fact that, well, still, I think I should take that back. I think it would just be a great shot for sure. Just doesn't have to be a big weight. You just go in there and get the right angle right on the yellow. You'd end up with sitting 2 yellows behind the green one. The green one's behind the other guard, so it's not easy for Gushue to do much with it. So that would be probably what I think might be the best option. The other option, I guess, would be to come down and hit the one that Mark just, or that Brad just threw, rather, with an out turn, go tap. You'll definitely be shot rock when it's done, but the Gushue rock probably hasn't gone anywhere either. So, and I still don't really know who shot, but I'm thinking green. That's about all I really see, to be honest, Dave. I don't see anything else right now for McEwen that he'd want to take on. He's not going to come off that outside rock, obviously, right now, because he could cause more damage than good, to be honest. So I don't think it's that would be a good option. We're still obviously thinking about it.
Yeah, this might be a situation where you want to call this one, want to throw this one now, because, I mean, Gushue's been watching this the whole time, and he's no dummy. He knows it's there.
Yeah.
He could take it away from you, so they did call their timeout here. Team's going to come on down and have a discussion about it. The game likely hangs in the balance here.
Well, certainly control of the last end is there for sure. And potentially, if you did something wrong here, you could sell out the farm, no question about it. And even though McEwen has hammer, it's a little bit dicey right now. It looks like he might consider coming off that yellow one.
And for those of you who
So McEwen's going to throw the double. He's basically trying to hit the green behind his Yellowstone. So it's fairly thin to make that. There are ways he could hurt himself here, but there's definitely a possibility of setting up a good result as well. You could probably hit half a rock and go right over on top of the yellow and maybe not even improve the situation greatly, but might set something up really good for his next shot. See much. Go ahead.
Asking for the broom to be moved just a centimeter there. And here comes Magic Mike trying to say abracadabra here. Come off the one, kick out that Gushue stone, and you lie shot there. Mike McEwen.
Yeah, this is a very good shot. It's hard to envision much better result here. I think obviously green was shot rock before this, and now yellow shot rock, and difficult for Gushue to do anything with it. Might be possible, but definitely difficult. Good news for Gushue is he did remain as everything but shot rock, I guess. He's number 2, number 3, number 4, but they're not all going to come into play for sure. Looks like Brad's going to throw a little bit of a tap back shot, probably a hack weight shot. Figures he can get enough curl here to get to the nose or almost to the nose of that one, and he's probably right. So that rock is out a long ways.
So Gushue settles in. He has Walker and Adam Casey on the brush, awaiting the arrival of their new teammate, Brendan Botcher, who is playing in a mixed double quarterfinal right now with Rachel Homan. And we've dropped that link into the chat so you can head on over there at the conclusion of this game. Maybe even open up 2 windows because you just can't get enough curling. So Gushue squeaks past the guard, taps it up and on, and he lies shot stone. Brad Gushue. But is there a shot for a deuce back? Tell me what you see here.
Yeah, it's they would have liked to got just a hair more curl than this. They probably went by the guard by 3/4 of an inch too much. They would have liked to got right to the nose there. So it definitely does leave McEwen with a chance for 2. He just plays the angle raise on his own, and a pretty short, fairly easy angle raise, I would say, and should stay for his deuce. So it's just Brad threw a really, really good shot there. Just needed to be just that slightly bit better. And it was tough to be any better.
Game of inches right now. So Mike McEwen is going to settle into the hack with this short little angle raise to score 2 in 7. Flashes on it right out of his hand. Now they're a little happier with it, working it over. Onto the one, tap it back, hold it there, and that's 1 and 2 stones for Mike McEwen here in 7.
Yeah, well thrown, perfect weight. See Marsh indicating that he doesn't really want to do anything with it right now, but just the right amount of sweeping. They just made sure it didn't get away from them, and a little bump, and an easy 2 for McEwen. Good and exciting end that was.
So they take a 2-stone lead. It'll be Gushue with the hammer coming home, needing a deuce to level it up. We'll be back from...
I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to landscaping. I've studied soil down to the microbes. It's that level of detail I bring to my work and to my business. Straight lines and a healthy ecosystem is what I'm all about.
He skipped his own team.
We're back here in Sault Ste.Marie. It's the Henderson Metal Fall Classic presented by Coyote Tractors of Ontario. Dave Schmel and Jim Nix with you, and we thank you so much for joining us here on Curling Stadium today, and it is a dandy. Just a great shot by Mike McEwen there to get his deuce.
Yeah, we were just talking during the break there. Mike certainly found his groove with this team, and they're having a great year. And he in particular is just back to the Mike McEwen of old and making pretty much everything he can possibly make. That was not one of his hardest shots he'll ever throw, but he just threw it so well, and it was just never any doubt from the time he let it go that they were going to be fine. And he gets a deuce, which have been hard to come by in this game. There's only been 3 of them altogether. McEwen's had 2 of them.
And Brad Gushue is going to need at least that here in the 8th.
Yeah, he'll have certainly thoughts in his mind about trying to get a 3, make a 3 somehow, but it's probably a little unlikely just because of the way the game's gone. There really hasn't been anybody with a chance at that kind of a score. I don't expect that Michael let that happen this end either, but he'd be happy with his 2 and then go to an extra end because he's pretty familiar with those.
And so are we, buddy. We seem to bring him on to every game we call.
Yeah, I know.
And for those of you who didn't see, the Gushue team was involved in a double extra end game earlier this weekend.
Yeah, that's a very rare occurrence, and certainly a rare occurrence at this level. This just doesn't usually happen. A little bit of debate about whether or not the Hopkins team had played the proper shot on the last one. I didn't have any problem with the shot. It just a little bit light or a little bit short on ice. So that was to win it in the 9th.
Yeah, it was a heck of a game in and of itself. And then Gushue had a couple pistols to take it in the 10th.
Well, lots of rocks around. Brad needs lots of rocks, so he's got them. Now just a matter of whether or not he can make use of them.
So first things first, he's going to draw down to the top 4 on top of the McEwen stone. Jeff Walker throwing second rocks today. Mark Nichols. And now Adam Casey is going to join in and try to walk this one over. Want to make sure the weight is pretty good here. I think he wanted that one just a touch deeper.
Yeah, he did. That's not as easy to make use of now as it would have been if he had got that right on top of the yellow for sure. I think he would have even preferred if he was going to miss it, even if he just bumps the yellow a foot or so, would have been better than where it ended up. Interesting what McEwen's going to guard here, though.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Always, I guess, counterintuitive to what we classically teach people when you have a lead.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. It's not what we normally see. Sometimes we wonder why we don't see that because it just feels like they have a great situation and why not just keep going with it. But quite often at this level, if you do that, it just doesn't work out for you. But that doesn't look like that's going to hurt him much. So, but, this is a good example of it, I guess. If they were, if the Gushue squad can make this one, if Jeff can make that little hit and flop behind the guard, the one you just threw is actually causing you some grief because he may have not been buried without it there, and now it could be buried. So that's why they don't like to do that.
So got to make this little pop and flop.
It's not going to get by.
Got to get past it first. No, it's going to wreck. So turns out that was a perfect guard.
Yeah. Jeff won't be happy with either one of those shots this end, I don't think, because his first one wasn't terrible by any means, but it wasn't exactly what they wanted, and that shot there was a great opportunity to potentially turn this end right around.
And there's the power of positive reinforcement. Mike now loves that guard. He wants another one. Oh, now maybe not so much. So the two options, the guard, which they had just had.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of chatter here for what I don't think is going to change anything. But yeah, I mean, he indicated he could hit the green one out there in the over the top of the end and siding there, but decided not to bother with that. He's going to go after this and.
So comes from Flash. This one's in a better spot for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he hasn't left the shot quite as open.
Now, do you think Brad might want to try to use that green rock in the 12 to start to massage stuff in, or use that later?
Yeah, I think he'll use it later if he has to. I don't think he wants to do that right now. Looks like this shot is going to be an outturn, maybe through that port. It doesn't even look like there is a port there, but I'm sure there is. Right onto the yellow. It's going to be really close.
Gonna get through that little port, through that itsy bitsy port, and down to it.
That's a terrific shot.
That is magic in motion right there.
I thought for a minute they were sweeping to keep it straight just a little bit too long, but didn't happen. So interestingly enough, just real quick, we were just talking about getting 2 or getting 3 here, and just noted that John Epping just picked up 3 in the bottom of the 8th against Dunstone just to tie that game, but he was trailing 5-2, very similar to here, and ended up getting a 3.
So now we have Flash. He's going to try to make this double on the Gushue rocks. Needs to curl up a touch. Does not come on in, so it does leave Gushue one buried under a metric ton of granite.
Yeah, I don't know how you get another one in here yet, but that's he's got one in there pretty good. So
well, you have 2 long guards that you might be able to raise in at some point. It's just the question is now the time to do it? I think he feels like he can feather around that long guard and maybe even come off that yellow and trickle on in.
yeah, I think it's I think he's just not seeing any other ways in, so he's going to play this. It's such a long raise that it's hard to make it to sit 2, but it shouldn't really, as long as he's not really heavy, and he's not going to probably do himself any harm here. This could be really good.
Raises it up and right on in there, and you sit 1-2, I think now.
Yeah.
Holy heck.
See, this is so hard to do. It's just perfect weight control, perfect ice, and not swept a lot, but just enough to make this shot. And that's a challenge on those shots. All of a sudden, you're throwing a board weight shot or a back line weight shot or something like that, and trying to figure out the ice on ice that curls the way this does. It's not easy to do, and these guys all make it look pretty simple. But Gushue with an opportunity here.
Okay, so Mike has an opportunity of his own here. He can push it back here and make some hay.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's and a little easier to do, I think, to be honest, when you're throwing it as a full weight hit rather than something in between a lighter weight shot.
You see virtually 0 ice being taken, so this is going to come with some force. Mike McEwen with his first in the 8th.
It's going to curl.
Flash trying to bring it over. Push it back. And you get one to go. Leaving one there right on the roof of that house.
Yeah, Gushue won't be too unhappy with that result for McEwen, just because I think that was for these guys, that was a very makeable raised double takeout. So, and if that would have spelt probably disaster for Gushue and might have taken away any chance he had of making this game go his way eventually here. So he's now going to play the same style of shot. He's going to play off of this one. I don't know what this looks like on the overhead. So I don't know if he can actually make the double on the two yellows. Yeah, we see it there. I guess it doesn't work that way. So he's just going to hit this, try to roll into his own, sit two that way. Thanks, guys, whoever did that.
Brad Gushue with his first in the 8th. Hit and roll. It's got a curl to do that. Hit and roll on over. Do you get far enough? Not really.
No, not quite.
And
you guys are giving us some fun shots to watch here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now they're keyed up on each other. So is there anything on any kind of an angle that Mike can use here to really rock his world here?
Yeah, the one thing that Mike has to be real careful here of is, and he obviously knows that, he doesn't want to move that yellow one at all and set up like the high yellow one or sorry, the high green one and set up an option for Gushue to get to the yellow that's on the edge of the 4-foot. So he's staying well away from that. I'm not actually totally sure where he is going with this shot. I missed the call. Possibly just a guard on the top green one, maybe.
I think it's either a guard, either in front of or even behind it's not bad because you block it either way.
Yeah.
Mike McEwen with his final in the 8th.
Well, he's definitely going around this yellow one, not plugging that hole.
Okay, so trying to get up there and foul up the angles. Get all the way in there, and that might even be shot rock.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah, quite a good shot.
Now, with that said, did you just show him exactly how to do that?
Well, that's a good point, Dave. I think you definitely did. I mean, it's basically you have the exact same shot if you want to play it. The difference here for Gushue would be that if you play it now, it's going to be for 2. And he's probably in his mind still thinking, okay, where's my 3 option? And depending on how much harder that is, he may take that on rather than just take the deuce. And he hasn't got an easy deuce. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing that's simple about the situation for him.
Well, it's been fun watching this, just you, me, and almost 4,000 of our best friends.
Yeah, big crowd.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Curling Stadium. You guys have invested your time wisely. Now, it's going to be this long raise attempt.
Yeah, not a surprise. One thing about these shots, when Brad decides that this is what he's going to do, he doesn't take a lot of time to fool around with it. He just goes and throws it. So he's playing a raised double takeout really for the win. He's not really trying to just get 2 out of this.
Brad Gushue, final stone at number 8. Looking for the big shot to win it. Run it back. Knock it over, and it's not going to go. And it's going to be a victory for Mike McEwen here at the Henderson Metal Fall Classic presented by Kioti Tractors of Ontario. What a fantastic game we saw here, Jim.
Yeah, very well-deserved victory for the McEwen team, particularly Mike. I mean, everybody played well. I don't think anybody had a real bad day out here, but McEwen just really made everything he had to make, and Gushue was pretty darn good as well, but just not good enough today. McEwen was just a better team this morning.
Yeah, both these skippers and squads made pretty much everything in front of them. It's just Mike ended up making one more, and that proves to be the difference. So it's going to be a final score of Mike McEwen 5, Brad Gushue 4, and McEwen will move on. And we have continuing coverage here on Curling Stadium. You can catch that Botcher-Homan mixed doubles game off the link right there on our website. We also have one in the chat. And we'll be back at 12:30 for the semifinals. Be sure to keep it right here all day. Thanks so much for watching. For Jim Nix, I'm Dave Schmel. We'll catch you later here on Curling Stadium.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
I'm Nolan Thiessen, CEO of Curling Canada and a BDO alumni. I was a former professional curler with Team Canada, winning the World Championships in 2010 and a 3-time Brier champion. I always loved the Muhammad Ali quote, "If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough." And I'm also a sneakerhead.
Hey, Nolan, great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I understand you're a sneakerhead.
And I've always liked shoes with a little bit of flair. I think once I got a little later on in my career, kind of became my brand a little bit. I grew up and Michael Jordan was the coolest person in the world and he had the coolest shoes in the world. So, I mean, I think it's, how do you go wrong with Jordan 1s?
Can you tell me a little bit about the classics you're wearing today?
Yeah, so these are Jordan 1 lows. The day that I found out that I was going to get the offer to be the CEO of Curling Canada, I was actually in a store and looked at the wall and saw these. And I said, those are perfect Curling Canada colors. And it just worked out.
20 years ago, you worked for BDO.
Yeah.
Were you allowed to wear those kind of shoes to the office?
No, we were a little dressier then.
What drew you to accounting?
I was a math kid growing up. I'm very analytical. I like looking at things and not just looking at the numbers, but also looking at the story of what it means. And I think that kind of really drew me into accounting.
Can you tell me a little bit about your life growing up in Brandon?
I was a typical prairie kid. Baseball was my first love. Yeah, I grew up kind of chasing the baseball dream. Went to Louisiana in the 12th grade and got a college scholarship at junior college in Texas.
Who would be the greatest baseball player of all time?
My parents named me after him, so it's Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan's my idol. He'd be the one that I would be so starstruck to ever meet.
So I notice your shoes are impeccably tied. Much like tying laces, accounting is all about the details. So what did you learn at BDO?
Anybody can balance a balance sheet. It's, what does it mean? What does it say about the business? Time management, which was huge and came in handy, later on when I was, chasing the curling dream full time. From an athletic standpoint, you have a short window of time where you can be an athlete, and I could see the end of the road athletically, and I said, okay, I just need to sell out for this for right now, and I can go back and build my business career because I already have my designation at that point.
Did having the designation, did that give you the comfort to take the leap?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember one of the partners saying to me, accounting is one of the most recession-proof jobs there is. I mean, everybody needs an accountant, and I knew I had something to go towards when I was done.
So, tell me about these shoes.
So these are my old curling shoes. They're Asham brand, which is from Manitoba. I'm a good Manitoba boy there. So this is the sliding shoe. This is Teflon, which is one of the faster sliders. It's something that I always wanted, was the least amount of drag possible. And that's my trail shoe. And I've got a toe dip, it's called, to try to make this as slick as possible, so when you're sliding out and this toe's dragging, you don't have a boat anchor behind you.
Can you tell me about some of your biggest curling moments?
Obviously the biggest one was winning the World Championship. I mean, it's, wearing the maple leaf, standing on the top of the podium, singing your national anthem is your dream, right? I was a front end player too, so sweeping really mattered to me, and I actually was fortunate and also nerve-wracking enough that I got to sweep a draw to the button twice to win the Brier. So you kind of fulfill a lifelong dream, right? I think the first time I won it, I said I wanted to win this thing since I was 10 or 11 years old. Like, it's so cool.
What do you do to stay in shape now?
So I do lots of outdoor running. Getting out for an hour and going for a run and just letting your mind clear, I think is one of my ways to sort of decompress.
So like cross-training and sneakers, how did you diversify your skills in order to move up at Curling Canada?
I said I wanted to learn the business of sport, and I wanted to, that meant doing some very junior roles. I'm someone who you need to kind of do it to kind of understand it and see how the pieces are all put together. How can you help me kind of learn and expand my skill set?
So sneakers provide stability. How did accounting provide you the solid foundation for your next role after curling?
Being able to provide me that business acumen, I think was massive for me. Exposure to many different businesses and different clients, different motivations, being able to acknowledge all of those motivations for people, but then still being able to take it back to the business was valuable in my role.
What is it like being the CEO of Curling Canada?
This means a little bit more to me than just sort of this one moment. I just, I say I don't want to let the sport down, right? And I just care about it. But I think the biggest thing for me is just planning and focusing on the process and knowing that there's a long game, having that strategic goal of where you want to take the organization, and always coming back to that.
So sneakers protect our feet from rough terrain. How have you steered Curling Canada through a rough spot?
Sometimes it's just saying, I don't know, right? And it's being confident enough to say, we don't have the answers right now and we'll get them. Always being open with all your stakeholders when decisions need to be made or when you're still processing.
All right, so you've got to tell me about these beauties here.
These are some custom sneakers that Tourism Calgary got done for me. We've got an amazing relationship with them. They helped us during COVID to be able to put on our events in a bubble for 80 days. These are just some Jordan 1s, but custom airbrushed with the Calgary skyline. Curling on the other side with the Scotties Tournament of Hearts logo and the Curling Canada logo on them. So I buy shoes to wear shoes, but these ones are so nice. These might be the only ones that I'll just leave on my shelves. They look too good. I'm not sure if I can wear these.
So I know that youth participation is really huge for you. Why is it so important?
You know what? It's the next generation. I watched the Brier when I was 10 and then said, I want to win it. I want those experiences for people now to look at it and say, that was a really cool moment. I'd love to experience that. And sometimes that experience is playing it. Sometimes that experience is next time curling's in town, I want to be in the building to feel the energy.
So reflecting on your journey from athlete to accountant to CEO, what's the legacy you want to leave behind?
I love our game. I love the community. I love what it is. It's like this special piece of Canadiana. Our mission is more curlers, curling better, and more fans, right?
Bonus round, which is harder? Winning the World Championship or getting your CPA?
So they're different. Getting my CPA is harder. The World Championship is obviously extremely hard. It's also one though where if you screw up, millions of people saw it.
Someone from your past video is here to say hello.
Awesome.
No, it's great to see you.
Good to see you, Colin. How's it going?
Oh, things are going well.
Things are going good?
So we're so proud of you here at BDO. You know, I've always been kind of following you along.
I know you were my lead on a few different audit files, so we spent some time in some bingo halls and some places all over Edmonton. So
it's with a little surprise for you.
Wow.
So we got some, knowing that you're a sneakers guy, so we got a pair of custom sneakers for you. I guess they're Air Force Ones. So
wow,
take a look.
Curling Canada, BDO. Look at that, hey. Our auditor at Curling Canada is actually BDO, so I'll have to take these down when I got to go down for the audit here in a couple of months. So this is awesome.